Welcome to part 20 of the Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword playthrough. Hello again, Beetle. We're visiting his shop once again, because this is where you get your wallets in the game. So, I want to get that up as much as
I forget Legend of Zelda games usually have wallet upgrades.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, it's weird. But now I can hold up to 1200, I think. Yeah. Oh yeah, and here you also get the Adventurer's Pouch. So this is weird. It's a new addition for Skyward Sword exclusively. Like, the Adventure Pouch can hold your bottles and your shields. Oh.
The fuck is going on?
Dude raised the prices and he was like gaslighting us. Say, what? No, I didn't raise the price. What are you talking about?
What a scam.
But yeah, today's part is basically, well, since we're done with the first 3 dungeons of the game, and traditionally in Zelda games, that's when, like, usually a story beat then proceeds after the first 3 dungeons. And so basically that's what we're going to be doing for the next couple of parts now, because this game is long. This game has bad pacing. So, yeah, today's session really is just going to be a bunch of meandering and trying to see where we're meant to go next. I guess I left it in my shopping trip, so that's fun. That's fun and dandy, right? Yeah.
I want to go to the store.
Oh yeah, this is where I get the Sacred Shield. It's basically a regenerating shield. So like, you can take damage. It is somewhat fragile, but the more you use it, or like, the more it takes damage and you don't do anything with it, like, it'll regenerate its own health. So that's fun.
Enchanted it with mending.
Exactly, yeah. So I buy that so you don't have to worry about, like, shield degradation anymore, to a certain extent, and not really have to use those the regenerating potions. So yeah, Sacred Shield. That's pretty much what you're gonna see throughout the rest of the game, because that's until I get the Hylian Shield, which is optional in this game. You have to do a side quest in order to get the Hylian Shield, actually.
Interesting.
Yeah, not sure why, but I guess so. Oh yeah, because of that Adventurer's Pouch thing, that like it holds the shield, it holds bottles, but it also holds like additional ammo upgrades, like a seed satchel and bomb bags and a quiver, so you can hold more at a time. It's weird that you have to have like a separate you essentially have a second inventory management screen, which no other Zelda game previous had stuff like that. So it's weird like that.
Yeah, that is.
So there's a little like thing in the shop there that's basically like a item storage thing. You can think of it like a I can't think of it, like a public storage unit. I guess, yeah. You can basically put anything, like swap out stuff in there in case, you know, you have too many stuff in your Adventurer's Pouch. And since I think you can only get them from Beetle, there might be some scattered in treasure chests here and there in the sky maybe. But the ones from Beetle, as you can see, were very expensive because he kept raising the prices. The gaslighter.
Beetle's my favorite gaslighter.
Beetle's my favorite gaslighter of all time, yeah. Kaden, is that
I
you?
like being gaslighted.
Yes, sir.
Oh,
I'm in a little late. Sorry about that.
It's all right. Hey.
Yes, and yes, Beetle is a fucking piece of work.
Hey, Kaden, thank you for joining our Fallout New Vegas playthrough. All right.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I have a roommate that hasn't showered in the last 3 weeks and does nothing but roleplay in GTA 5 every night.
Oh, I was about to ask, is he a Smash player?
No, honestly, that would be a little more base than what I have to go through. But he's gone for the weekend, so I was able to actually hop in.
Oh wow, yeah, okay, that's pretty good. So
It's pretty good.
hey, we got a fourth member here. Hey everyone.
I'll start the video over.
Howdy, they call me Big Guy.
the big guy. Don't worry about the name in the
the big man.
Right. So, what's your experience with the Zelda series and Skyward Sword specifically?
Well, I could talk about Skyward Sword is honestly one of the games I have the least experience with. It's the only 3D Zelda I have not that I haven't beaten all the way through more than once.
Okay.
However, I have beaten it. It's been a fat minute, but I do like it. Honestly, the only reason I haven't replayed it in a long time is because of the whole Wii thing.
Right. Yeah.
And I want to get the Switch port, but Switch port came out a little late into my time before I moved out and let my brother keep the Switch. So
I see. Well, yeah.
I need a new Switch. But I have played every game in the series before and beaten nearly all of them.
So even the handheld stuff like the Game Boy and DS and
Yes.
all that. Oh, really?
Yes,
Okay.
I've beaten every 2D Zelda. The only ones I haven't beaten are the spin-off games.
Like the Four Sword stuff.
No, I've beaten Four Swords as well.
Oh, okay.
I've beaten all of them on emulator in my time.
Ah, I see. Yeah.
Or like a lot of them when they were on the Wii, like the
Virtual console?
the Wii Virtual Console version. Yes. Can't believe Link just took the mood.
I know,
So
right?
awesome.
Massive dump.
Some realistic sound effects there. Yeah.
Absolutely.
But okay, yeah. So for this playthrough, I have recorded it off of the Switch version. So I'm using.
That's what I figured. Because
Yeah.
recording off of the Wii version is awful.
Yeah. At least, well, with the Switch version, you do have motion control options with the Joy-Cons and stuff. But I
Yeah.
decided to go with button controls for this one because one, you have the freedom to
because
do that, and two,
Motion controls are a nightmare.
well, also two, my Joy-Con was experiencing drift at this time, so I didn't want to deal with that.
I can't blame you for that one.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like the motion controls for the Switch Joy-Cons are general. I mean, like they're okay for what they are, but I still prefer using like the Wii sensors because those feel more accurate.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because the Joy-Con doesn't have any kind of like sensor to like point at to know like where it is, so it has to try to like kind of estimate where it is
right, 'cause
in space, and that's why they give you like reset buttons on any games that use motion controls to like recenter yourself, because it kind of gets confused every once in a while.
That's a fair
Yeah.
assessment. Yeah, because it's gyroscope technology. That
Yeah.
I've never been a fan of motion controls in the Zelda games, even though I think they did a decent job of it in Skyward Sword, especially for the era it came out. God, I never want to go back to that era. If I can have button controls, I'm using them. It's one of the things that annoys me so highly is that my favorite game of all time being Twilight Princess.
it's like
The only version
game,
of it that I
not
have
even like
is-
like game period. Like favorite game of all time, just not
Oh,
out of the
yes.
Zelda franchise, just out of your personal.
Yes, my Zelda is my favorite game series of all time, and at the top of that series would be Twilight Princess.
Gotcha. Alrighty. Then.
And it
That's
is
cool.
because of a few things that I could nerd out about all day.
Gee, I wonder who's gonna record the Twilight Princess playthrough now.
Yeah, if you need a Twilight Princess guy, I've beaten that game so many times. Like I've beaten that game at least 32
Wow.
times, I think.
Wow.
So you can do that the annoying statue puzzle in one go?
I actually can't because the problem is that I stopped doing it as frequently when I started doing annual replays of the game.
Oh yeah?
I started doing it annually, and the other thing is I've played in between. When you play with the flipped map, the thing is I still look up tutorials because that stupid puzzle is a pain in my my ass because my brain is small.
Okay. But yeah, no, I have to point that one out because that's like the one puzzle in the entire game that is
That's hard.
Yeah, it's way too hard for its own good. So I have to look it up online.
I don't. Here's the thing. We didn't have tutorials as much when I first entered the series. When I got a Wii, when like 2009 in kindergarten.
Yeah.
So I played it. You know, I play. I don't know how I figured that out. I don't know. But I did without tutorials because I didn't have a way to look up tutorials at that age.
It's weird to wonder how you're like really good at games when you're like a toddler, and then when you play them again when you're older and more experienced, you have no idea how you finished them before.
Yeah, but then at the same time, like other games, had no clue how to. Like I was incapable of finishing Sonic the Hedgehog 2 as a kid. I'm still incapable of finishing it today because of that final boss fight in Sonic 2.
No, really?
Oh my god, the lack of...
I don't know. That's a cakewalk for me, but you know, that's just me.
I've never been that good at 2D Sonic. My first video games I ever played were Sonic, but I was never very good at 2D Sonic, especially not at the bosses. And I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of brutal with the live system being so when like game overs being because easy to get.
Yeah, well, like the Genesis era pretty much was like, because the idea with the Genesis just generally was it was like the arcade machine at home, and usually arcade machines once you die or game over rather, like you used to get sent all the way back to the beginning of the game.
Yeah, and then they take more of your money.
Exactly, yeah.
Exactly. It's almost like a modern video game with all those microtransactions.
Oh, really now? So
yeah.
They actually have never changed.
Well, they changed for the better for quite some time, and then they went back.
Right, yeah, then they went back, yeah. EA is a great company. Little did you know.
Electronic farts. Hate that company, man.
Yeah.
I've never been a fan of... Well, I'm a fan of some of the stuff that they publish, but none of the stuff that they have any creative say in.
Yeah. Like
on one hand, they have exclusive Star Wars publishing rights nowadays.
Yeah.
To which we get some pretty solid games. And some bad ones as well, but like Jedi Fallen Order is an EA title. As is its sequel that's coming out this year, so I can't say I hate everything from EA.
Yeah, like we were actually discussing this like last time when you weren't here. Like
believe me, you wouldn't want me to be here last time. It was my mic would have picked up my roommate mouth breathing the entire time.
Oh god.
As well as yelling at 13-year-olds about how they are not role-playing correctly in GTA, and he's a police officer, and he's saying, that's not realistic, fail RP. It is...
Isn't he just shooting everyone on sight, though?
I mean, that's what's surprising. That would be way more realistic.
Back on track. We're saying that like EA has like they're not the ones like directly developing like their games. They just have a lot of corporate heads within the development studios that basically make the decisions. Most of the decisions, anyways.
Yeah, so, they do, and it's unfortunate because they make bad decisions.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah. It's like freaking for a while they released the same damn sports game every year. I mean, that's kind of like whatever, but like, and then they always have like one interesting thing from BioWare, and then like nobody buys it.
Yeah, that sounds about right, dude. I swear, Sparrett. I forgot about this guy.
Yeah.
Really,
Why?
I did, and now he's bringing back a lot of memories to people I've seen, like hipsters. He really does look like a hipster.
Yeah, that's I guess it's just, well, he's a fortune teller, and so I don't know why I'm talking with him right now, because I think at this point of the plot, he's like, I can see your troubles ahead, and you must go here. Because right now, like, the puzzle is there are two windmills on Skyloft that you have to point at each other. They're like little wind turbine things that you use gust bellows on. The first one I did just right, but the second one, because the game likes to pad out its length, they say, oh no, the second propeller isn't there. What do we do now? Talk to these people here. So basically you have to go on a search, and I pointed this out earlier in the playthrough when we were here in Elden Volcano, why I hate the freaking backtracking in this game so goddamn much. Like, my general feeling on Skyward Sword is basically, when it comes to the dungeons, I think they're the best designed out of all the 3D Zelda games, but when it comes to the stuff in between the dungeons, I do not give a shit about, like, little to none. Like, I do not care what they're making me do. It is the most uninteresting shit ever. Okay, so with the propeller thing, I pointed this out earlier because it is here when you're here earlier. You can't interact with it at all, but it's here, and so you basically have to use your dowsing ability to go find it. Yep, there it is. And if you don't know the specific statue that's like the closest to the item, you're going to be searching for this thing like a long time.
That's very realistic to real world dowsing. Dowsing is still one of those things we don't have any clue how it actually worked, but it just kind of did. Because it doesn't have any scientific backing behind it, but they still did it for a long time and were surprisingly successful. Link is just not blessed by the gods in this particular area. Because I'm pretty sure that's how they explained it back in the day. They said, hey, like they literally prayed to find like gold or oil or whatever. And then we'd be like, here, we found it. But I'm not sure.
I mean, that's a fair assessment. Because like that was somewhat pre-industrial. I mean, it was kind of around the same.
The original dowsing was in the beginning of in the industrial area. That's when they first started getting rigs, and they were finding spots to put those oil rigs and oil like wells.
Right. And basically, you're saying like, how exactly did they find these specific areas? Right.
And they recorded it as dowsing, and it was someone basically rubbing a stick on the ground, if I recall, like.
Yeah.
some like ritualistic thing to like find where oil is.
Right.
And surprise, a very high percentage of the time it actually found oil. It might be because there was just an abundance of oil in the US before we started drilling. And
most likely
using all of it, but who knows.
Eric, you want to play that turmoil game again?
That makes sense. Wow.
Yeah, we got.
I forgot how good the visuals are in this game.
Yeah, and it looks good on the HD console as well.
Yeah, they did a good job with the cell shading on this one. As much as Twilight Princess is my favorite Zelda, the character models.
I love oblong footballs too. Yeah.
However, I will say I will die on the hill that I think Twilight Princess has the best art direction in terms of its dungeon design and atmosphere.
Could you explain that a little bit more?
I've always loved the texture work and the atmosphere, the music, just being in like the dungeons. Mm-hmm. All the dungeons feel extremely unique and very atmospheric compared to a lot of the other games.
That's true.
They're
I can see
very
that.
like I've always felt like, and also some of them are brilliant in their like ideas. Some of them suck.
Yeah.
I never have liked I've always been a massive fan of like the ladder dungeons in the game, except for Temple of Time.
Like latter game dungeons are generally more interesting than the early game ones, just by nature.
No one ever likes the Forest Temple equivalent.
Right? Yeah, it's like
It's always just like here.
The first dungeon is the first dungeon. Like on a ranking list, it's usually the one at the bottom because there's just nothing special to write home about, you know?
Yeah, and I've never liked fire temples in any of the games. Just I've never liked the atmosphere that much behind it. And I've never found most of the items that usually get put into the fire temple or fire dungeon or
whatever. It's usually bombs.
it usually involves a bomb. In Twilight Princess, it's the bow, and it's the right before the dungeon you get the iron boots. So like the iron boots are actually used a fair amount.
Yeah.
Although those are also heavily used in water temples, obviously.
Oh yeah.
Water temples always have.
flashbacks.
Oh my god, I love that dungeon and hate it at the same time.
I mean, like the more you play that, you
become better.
You become better. I mean, that's just how it naturally goes for a lot of things.
I've always loved the lake bed temple in Twilight Princess. That's always been one of my favorite dungeons in the series because it literally takes takes a lot of the formula of the interesting parts of the water temple in Ocarina, and then makes it not hell.
It added a staircase.
Pretty much.
That's basically all it needed.
The rising and lowering water levels divided into separate rooms with like the idea of you're trying to direct the water flow throughout the rooms. That always compelled me a lot, and it wasn't too hard to get as a kid, and it still compels me as an adult. And like it's cool. That, and I love the hook shot.
Hook shots are great in any game, and
for the claw shot in Twilight Princess for some reason.
This game too. Yeah.
Yeah. Why do they change the names?
Because it looks like an actual claw instead of a hook.
Yeah.
So that's why you can be. It's Spider Link, you know.
Especially once you get the double one.
Right.
So yeah, I be playing Terraria, however the hell you say it. I think it's Terraria.
Terrania, yeah.
Reading up that like the game is super, super inspired by Zelda in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
One of the ways being the dual hook in the game is directly textured based off of the double claw shot from Twilight Princess. A lot of the hooks are based off of different versions of the hook shot. Which is pretty cool.
I mean, yeah, like, I don't think you could go wrong with a hook shot in any game. Resident Evil 0.
Yeah.